Welcome to the Come Together podcast. My name's Nicola and I'm joined by John today, and we have decided to have a bit of a discussion about a tough topic in recovery, which is the struggles we sometimes face, lapses, relapses, whatever you choose to call it. John has kindly come along to talk about his experiences, and we're going to have a bit of an open conversation about our own struggles in recovery. So thank you for coming, John.
You're welcome.
And I know we've spoken before the podcast, and you've shared with me a little bit about the struggles you faced recently in your own recovery. And I know I said, would you be able to kind of run through us kind of what's happened, the process of looking to kind of get back on track, and how that's happened as well. So if you're comfortable taking us back, then
Yeah, it's fine. Start from the beginning.
yeah.
Okay. I've been in recovery for 18 months, and I always knew at some point that there was an opportunity for me to lapse, and my fear was always, I didn't know when. I'd always feared it. It was my biggest fear when it came out of detox, that at what point do I lapse? Because everyone I've been around who's been in addiction and in recovery, 90% have lapsed. So I knew that I'm no different, and it was going to happen. It was my biggest fear. And I guess really what happened was, I say a couple of months ago, it was a family, really, that sort of, they didn't know that they were doing it, but they were wearing me down. And anyway, it was one Saturday afternoon, and I got home, and there was just noise in my head. It wouldn't settle, it wouldn't calm down. So I guess really my brain was going back to the point of where I was drinking to calm it down. So I thought, I'm going to go to the shop and I'm going to buy a bottle of gin. And I fought it and I fought it and I fought it, but the mind just wouldn't stop.
I ask you a question for it. What kind of things were going through your head at the time? Do you remember? Was it just like, fuck it, you know, like what? Do you remember some of the thoughts that were happening?
No, because you know, when I talk about noise in my head, I don't want to sound stupid or silly. The noises in my head were, for me, was taking me back to when I was in addiction. It was almost the brain wanted me to go back there and look at what I did there and bring it back.
Got it.
If that sounds, yeah.
Like replaying things, like almost like the brain had got so noisy again, there was like no escape.
Yeah, and then I went and I bought the gin, and I knew what I was doing. I didn't want to do it, but I knew that no one was going to talk me down. There could have been 1,000 people in my house. I was still going to drink that. I did, and I drank it, and the next day I got up and drank another one. I then realised that having gone through recovery, that if I continue doing this with the gin and the spirit, this isn't going to stop. So I decided to start buying wine. Not that it was any much different, but it felt that way.
As you do, yeah.
So I guess the drinking episode lasted, I'd say 4 weeks. I was constantly having conversations with myself saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But you know, when you get to that point and you go, what I deem as the fuck it button.
Yeah.
So I was pushing that on a daily basis. And whilst I was doing that, I began to learn a lot. And I was grateful that I had the relapse, because I knew it was going to happen. Now it's happened. And I also learned so much about things, people, stigma.
Yeah.
I learned so much. And I thought, right, okay, John, having been through the foundation course at CGL, so I was given the tools at that point. I know how to use those tools. Yeah. And one of those tools was where I had to reduce in fear of seizures, because I have had 10 seizures. So that was a big worry for me. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to buy beer and I'm going to drink the beer and I'm going to reduce the beer down. And to be fair, guys, I hate beer.
Yeah.
I've never drank it in my life. So 4 cans could last me 12 hours. And every time I looked at it, I thought, I can't drink it. At some points, I was vomiting it back up because I bought drinking it. And the latter 4 weeks became very emotional. I found that the stigma attached to drinking, I get that in my addiction, and I did 18 months in recovery, and I found that I was being judged for the 6 years again, not the 18 months.
So it kind of felt like it took away, in that short time, a bit like it took away those 18 months of your recovery.
And the ironic thing about that, yeah, it did, but I wasn't going to allow that to happen. And I wasn't going to allow that my lapse was going to take away all that effort I put in 18 months ago.
Absolutely.
I still did it. I still can do it. Okay, so I lapsed, I got weak, for whatever reason. But I was still not going to give up them 18 months, and I will never give them 18 months up, because they were important to me. And what for me was, I literally found people out in my last 8 weeks. I realised that all the investment that I put into my family over the years, and they weren't there. And then people use the excuse, well, you know, we just don't know how to deal with you, whatever. And I came to the conclusion, that's an excuse to wash your hands of a problem and an issue and walk away. Just because I'm an alcoholic doesn't mean I'm not ill, doesn't mean I don't need the support. And I actually don't need the people that I love to walk away from me. So I'm not accepting that. And in the past, when I've done my foundation course and we speak about family, how it affects and everything else, I'm not accepting that either. Because there's nothing that will keep me away from my family. Nothing, if they need me. And I expect that respect, and I didn't get it. So I come to the conclusion over the last 4 weeks, which, you know, I have to accept, sometimes you've got to discard people out of your life, whether it's family or friends.
To move forward.
Yeah, because I now know that I'll never get that support. So there's no point in me investing in it.
But is there support in other places for you?
Well, this is the point. What got me through it? I've made a lot of friends through Come Together, through CGL, through doing the outreach work. And I think that was part of me relapse, because I gave all that up, thinking I could do it now. And the reality is, no, I couldn't.
That's a big lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, like, I've got so far, I've been able to do it, and then we kind of forget how we did it.
Yeah.
And we go, I don't need to do that anymore, forgetting that that's exactly how we got what we've got, didn't we?
Well, I know now that, and I will say this to people at some point, that I know that the people I need to be with are the people that's been on my journey. And I'm not going to try in the future to explain my illness. And the other point is, people, because they don't understand where we've been, the journey we've been on, why we went there, sometimes we don't even know ourselves as to how we got there, but we did. We didn't wake up and say, I'm going to be an alcoholic and I'm going to piss everyone off today.
Of course, yeah.
But what I did find was, is because people don't understand the illness, and I'm not saying that they should, but they don't understand it, they form an opinion.
Of course.
And that opinion then allows them to judge without knowing anything. Then that to me says, you think you know, but that opinion you've just formed helps you cope from walking away from someone who needs the help. But for me, in the last 2 weeks, I've had so many visitors to home, people ringing and saying, do you need any help with your shopping? Just popping around to say, do you fancy a coffee? That said a lot to me.
I think you've just highlighted there as well, for me, like, and I know in my life and my recovery, is that, you know, I understand my family so much differently now, because like you've just said, they shouldn't, should they have to understand? In my opinion, no, they're not addicts, they're not going to, Where I found my identification, my understanding was with other people in recovery, and that's any type of recovery. I can identify with people in all sorts of recovery, from all sorts of adversity, drugs, mental health, gambling, because there's just an understanding of they know the places of pain that I have been to, and I surround myself with those people. And what I think is lovely is that, you know, you've got an understanding of where it went wrong, i.e. I moved away from everything that was helping me. I was like, right, I'm done now, to then actually using those skills that you were given before. You know, like, it takes a lot of mental anguish to pull ourselves out of those situations, but I know for me, and maybe for you, it was not done alone. You know, there was something or somebody trying to help me, and there was always a place for me to go back to.
And that was comforting, knowing that I could pick the phone up and someone will pick it up on the other end, and I can have that honest conversation without being judged. You know, that was the big thing for me. But ultimately I feel that I draw strength from it, and I'm glad I had the experience. I'm glad that it didn't take too long.
Absolutely.
Because I did have the tools, and I put them tools in place. But at the same time, I had people around me who knew how I was feeling, and knew, you know, to say the right things, if you like, because they'd been there. I think ultimately, I'm not going to try and justify what I've done. I'm not even going to apologise for what I've done, because I didn't do it.
Forward,
and I'm making my life about me. I've got to exist, I've got to cope, and I've got to put myself around people who know what I've got to do and why I've got to do it.
And John, you deserve to exist, you know. You're a really, really wonderful man, and I'm glad that you're back with us. You make me cry now. I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, because it takes a lot to come and be honest, you know, because there can sometimes be shame around it. But if you're listening today, right, and you are struggling, or you are in a relapse and you are coming back, there is always a place for you to come back to. You know, shame will keep you out the door. Courage is going to bring you back in. We'll take care of you then. So I just want to say thank you to you, and thank you for everyone listening. And you know, please like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and we'll do more of, you know, more of this as much as we can for as many people as we can. Thanks very much.